Well, folks, didn't I have a bit of an interesting walk that I've fairly recently returned from? In my village, there are quite a few sort of routes out of it, public footpaths, where you can take advantage, obviously, of the fantastic views. But relatively close to where my parents are going to be living in their new house, there's a road that passes through from one side of the upper part of the village to basically where the school is. And I've wandered up this way numerous times now and sort of exploring the area, walking down the little side streets and, you know, doing all the different loops that you can do. And there's a very nice community apple orchard in this general area. But on what you could sort of call a main road that passes through this entire section, quite a wide road, it's important, there's a row of houses, and at the end of it, there's what looks like a public footpath that sort of dissects this row of houses from another sort of small area of newer cottages. And so it looks like a public footpath, and there's absolutely no markings indicating that, you know, it's private. And for ages, I've been wanting to sort of wander up, because I noticed a few days ago as I was passing it, at the end of it, there is a gate. And again, no private signs, no entry signs, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so today I took several of the routes out of the village, and towards the end of my walk, I wandered up this little footpath to this gate, and at the end I paused because I looked at the gate. It has again. Obviously, you can probably tell what's, you know, coming up, but I'm defending myself. Not that I really feel like I've committed a terrible atrocity or anything, but all the hallmarks of a gate for public access. And I didn't actually open the gate. I just sort of looked and then paused to look at the open farmland that this particular path basically lies adjacent to. And as I was walking back, the last of this row of detached houses, the owner, approached me. I'm just going to say it really aggressively. He was very, very, very angry. I said, "Oh, look, I'm sorry. I was turning towards your property to ask you if this is private." I kept on apologising. I probably apologised about half a dozen times, sincerely. And as I walked away, I walked to the other side, and this is why it's important that it's a wide road. As I went to the other side of this road, far away from the path and from this guy's house, he walked down his drive. Honestly, I didn't actually quite know what he was going to do, but there was a large bush that kind of encloses the front garden of his house, and he emerged from this bush, this enormous hedge, to kind of continue ranting at me, and the whole thing was really hysterical. He said, "You'll never," and he was shouting, "You're never to walk up this path or I'll call the police." And the thing is, being inquisitive, obviously I'm not going to give any details, but I looked up the house to see if the people that were living there had recently bought it. And with a teeny bit of investigation, there is a company registered to the address. And the thing is, this bloke's behaviour was quite hysterical, and it felt a lot more kind of feminine. It felt a lot more kind of ranty, sort of in a Karenish kind of way, than, a more down-to-earth bloke, right? Who wouldn't have exacerbated the situation, who wouldn't have, approached as crossing the road to talk to me again, to kind of belabor the whole thing. And the thing is, earlier on today, I think this is a synchronicity that was going to happen. Earlier on today, I was watching a podcast, and the chief subject really was the difference between the behaviour of men and women. And when I looked up the company that was registered to this address, the particular company is run entirely by women, entirely. But the bloke that obviously approached me is listed as a director of this company. And the thing is, the ferocity, the really sort of over dramatic way that this bloke spoke to me indicated to me that he was incredibly angry, a very, very angry person. He's relatively young, and he's already got a mass of grey hair on top of his head. And I thought, Jesus Christ, this is disproportionate, okay? This is really, really disproportionate. And the thing is, we try and pretend that men and, well, a lot of people do, try to pretend that there's no difference between men and women, and sort of masculine and feminine behaviour. But obviously we know that there is. And I looked at this particular company, and all of the board of directors are all women. And this chap is not mentioned anywhere at all on any profile, on any social media account, anywhere. And yes, okay, done a bit of digging, will admit, bit obsessive. But it's really, really fascinating, because the way that this bloke was reacting was, I think it's indicative of the fact that when you try and play with roles, what men and women, generally speaking, do, and when it works, we mess with that at our peril. And the thing is, I'm coming back down to earth, but it was quite a shaking experience, because honestly, I was sort of looking at this guy and thinking, this man's, he's unhinged, and he's overreacting to this situation. And it always gets me thinking, wow, what's this man's home life like? Why is he reacting in this way? And it's my guess, demonstrable by his behaviour, it's my guess that there's a huge amount of frustration in this man's life. And frankly, I just get the impression that he feels incredibly emasculated by the fact that his wife, to all intents and purposes, is the breadwinner, is wearing the trousers in the relationship, is the dominant one in this relationship. And as I was sort of walking around various other routes following this this interaction, we'll call it, this intervention, I thought, well, the thing is, that man, has this happened before? Is he kind of knocking up quite a few, sort of ratcheting up a few knocks on his bedpost, so to speak, of these kind of overblown interactions. And actually my heart kind of goes out to him, because I don't think that this is a particularly happy or satisfied man. And we can try and pretend that we can iron out the general and stereotypical personality traits of men and women, but we can't. I think it has really disastrous and damaging ramifications to it. So this is a bit of fodder for my video today, but it was unnerving, certainly, but it was actually fascinating to see from, an innocent blunder that somebody, could be so angry and so dispossessed of, placidity and calmness. I don't think there's much peace in this man's life. And it's really important that we understand that we all exist on the spectrum. There's stereotypical behavior, and most people do conform to that to a general degree. But then you will get the outliers. And I think when you try and fuck around with masculinity and femininity, it doesn't go well. So my prayers will be going out to him this evening, because it doesn't sound like this man is winning in life, which is what I want you to do by liking what you like and being as peaceful as possible as you can be in your life.